Hey guys, it's Lindsay. I'm going to do a Divine Partners reading today. I have a beautiful view, so I decided to share it with you guys because I realize not everybody gets mountains, so there's a mountain. As always, if any of these messages don't align for you, please take only what you need and leave the rest. Okay, Divine Partners, Spirit. We got a little bit of a wind going. Before I start the reading, I'm actually going to do a couple deep breaths. So if you guys want to tap in and breathe with me, that's usually what I do before I start my client readings. And it just helps us all to kind of connect and ground in and be present where we are. So just for 2 seconds, we're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to do one more round. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now let's get into the reading. Divine Partners. Let's check in. Spirit, what are the messages for Divine Partners at this time? Whether you guys are alone or together or separated, there's something being emphasized specifically on the messages that you are receiving at this time. Listening to the messages, paying attention to the messages, especially if you get multiple of the same message. You are going through a death and rebirth cycle in your partnership, in your relationship. And there is this seeking energy, but I think a lot of the seeking energy comes from the mind itself and not from being present within the body. It's almost like seeking for a solution from here instead of here, right? So you can't truly find the solution from just thinking about it. Although it does help, but after a while. And I think one of my other readings I just did, the air signs. If you are an air sign, please go look at that because it is very much the same. It's about getting out of your head and into your body. But for you guys, it's more about listening to the messages and the ones that feel really aligned and seem to be guiding you around your divine partnership and relationship specifically. There's also something around opening and evoking the heart center. So doing activities together or doing activities by yourself that open and evoke the heart center. So, you know, for me, I'll give an example, like yoga is a really beautiful one for me that helps to kind of bring me back in. Also Qigong, I do a lot of Qigong, and that helps to bring me back into my body, into my heart center. So if you have things that do that for you, connecting with your partner on that level, because I do think a lot of the strife and or difficulties that are coming through in the divine partnership are trying to meet in the mind, right? And trying to bridge those gaps through the mind and not through the physical body. So the emphasis right now is on connecting to your partner in activities that open you both up, okay? And that could even be as simple as, you know, taking a walk, taking a hike in nature, together. You know, it doesn't have to be a class or anything like that. You know, if you paint, if you make music, or even if you don't, trying something like that seems really important to the partnership at this time, because you are going through a death and rebirth cycle. So it's almost like, in order for it to function smoothly, you need those things that connect you back to each other, because there's a lot of things that are kind of pulling you apart. And this is if you are in connection with each other right now. If you are not in connection, if you are seeking your partner, if you are in separation with your partner, the same applies. Doing those activities that bring you back to your heart space, because every time you connect with your heart space, you are connecting energetically with your partner, right? And so whether or not they are near you, they can feel it, okay? And that in itself will be helpful for their own growth, because it's like that energetic opening, as we were talking about. Here comes the wind. And just so you guys know, you're balanced on a pumpkin right now. the phone is balanced on a pumpkin, so we're being very autumnal right now. We're being very autumnal right now. Wow, blessings. Okay, let's get in. We're gonna start with Divine Masculine. Divine Masculine. And I also recognize too, like, I wanted to bring this because I recognize that not everybody has seasons, and luckily we have seasons. So this is the time of the season to be in the mountains, to be in New England. So that's what fall in New England looks like. There you go. Okay, we're talking about the Divine Masculine, the Star. You get the Star card. So the Star is the Aquarius card. That's my card. But in application to the Divine Masculine, if you see, she's almost like fishing for light, okay? And then you have, here comes the wind. Then you have the Eight of Swords, and it's this very kind of constrictive energy, held back, held down by outside forces. And I think in the way of the Divine Masculine, fishing for light when you are constricted, as we were talking about opening the heart space, pushing yourself to be in places that really open you up, it's less of an option and more of a necessity, especially for the Divine Masculine, to be putting yourself in places and around people that are lighting you up. Okay, because I do think the Divine Masculine has a tendency to either hermit or close themselves off in the way that this is coming, and that is only compounding the feeling, right? That's only compounding what the Divine Masculine is feeling right now, which in some ways is stuck. Okay, so and I do in some ways, like, you're getting this kind of like crying out for help energy, and it requires you taking the first step into helping yourself. And that's really what it's getting. It's, if you have to make yourself uncomfortable for a short amount of time, you know, going out into nature, maybe it's cold today, right? If you have to be uncomfortable for a little bit, ultimately for your betterment, say taking a class, say you're taking a yoga class, you've never taken a yoga class before, you're making steps towards improving yourself and Divine Masculine, and in the beginning those steps are going to be really uncomfortable because you've never experienced that, right? Experienced that certain you're learning. It's a learning curve, okay? And this is important to you in the divine partnership. Why? Okay, when you put yourself out there, and instead of choosing to close yourself off, you're choosing to open yourself up and actually learn more about yourself, learn about things that can help you, learn what helps you, then you are naturally drawing energy to you. And not just that, if you are not in a relationship with your divine feminine, you're drawing your divine feminine to you because your energy is open. Okay, so if your energy is closed, if it's closed off, it's very difficult to bring in that person that you want. And if you are in a partnership, it's also very difficult to have any level of healing in that partnership if the energy is closed off. All it takes is somebody being, a little bit open. And if their partner is willing to also be open, then you're moving forward, okay? Now, that's different if your partner, say, is not open. If your partner is also closed off, that's an entirely different situation, because you are not living in balance, right? So you have to be really discerning on, is my partner open and available to this change? If I'm going to learn, and you should do it anyways, it shouldn't be conditioned on your partner. Do it for yourself, right? Do it for yourself, because either way, you are in partnership with yourself first. And if you are in partnership with yourself, if you're in active, loving partnership with yourself, it's going to show you exactly how you're supposed to be loved. Okay? Okay, we're going to go into the divine feminine. Divine feminine. I'm getting like this smiling from the divine feminine, like I'm hearing glee, smiling, glee. In some ways, it feels to me that the divine feminine wants to reconnect with the divine masculine. If they have been in separation, there's this heightened energy of wanting to reconnect. Renewal, as we said, we were at the beginning in the general part of the reading, there's that death and rebirth cycle. So you're getting this renewal on the divine feminine, Queen of Pentacles. You're getting this renewal on the physical aspect of the relationship. Okay, the way this is coming through for the divine feminine, it's almost like the divine feminine wants to explore through their body, okay, through movement, through their body. Physically, they want to explore, and I think part of that is exploring with their partner. So this may be like sexually, that's what I'm seeing. But it's also the sensuality of that, right? It's not just those specific acts. It's about being in touch with your partner in a very sensual manner, and reawakening to each other physically, right? So I'm almost seeing for the partnership opening up to touch exploration. So maybe not something that is specifically going into the sexual realms. This is an adult reading, by the way. But the simple act of touch, so like holding hands, or like even like having PDA, right? So there are some partners that don't engage in PDA, and this is if you're not one of those partnerships, I would question you to explore what that feels like and what that looks like for you. I mean, you don't have to go like make out in public, like you don't have to go do that, but like even just like hand holding, or like simple touch, like that is just specifically between you two, it helps to I'm getting, it's almost like having a sense of your partner's presence around you, like reattaching to their energetic field, their presence, knowing when they're around you, through touch. Because if you are in a partnership and you kind of like, certain partners, they'll have a lot of PDA, they'll hold hands, but even when they're not, there's an awareness of where the partner is. Like, so say like your partner is like across the field at an event or whatever, and like there's an awareness, like you don't have to see where they are, but you know instinctually where they are. And I think for the divine feminine, the way this is coming in is kind of posing those questions to your divine masculine, or, you know, kind of opening to having a little more PDA, a little more touch, exploration together, because it's going to reconnect you on both a physical and an energetic level. That's really interesting. Okay. Any last info for divine partners? Yeah, it's really important to work with touch right now. It really, really is. And not, as I said, like obviously it can be in that sexual manner, but like really it's more important the exploration of touch itself, hugs, PDA, anything like that, so you can reconnect energetically to your partner, and romantically to your partner. Okay, that's a pretty good reading. This is Storyteller Tarot. I am Lindsey Rose. If you would like your own personal reading, please check out the links in bio. As always, I wish you guys well, and go enjoy the autumn.